Hey guys, welcome back to my Hypertrophy 1.0 program. This is week 3, day 5. So we are almost done with the third week, and we just have one more week to go. This split, if you guys are new here, is a push-pull legs 6-day-a-week split. So we're hitting it 2 times a week frequency and gradually increasing volume over time. You guys can download the program in the description, completely free, no strings attached. I just made this as a way for me to upgrade my own training and then hopefully help you guys along the way too with my findings and how I just approach my fitness in general. Today we're starting with the assisted pull-up machine. I'm going up 20 pounds, and what it means for this machine is I'm actually like kind of decreasing it by 20 pounds because every pound that you add to this is a pound that you're subtracting from your body weight when you're calculating the pull-up total, because after all, you're going to be adding weight to the exercise, which is going to make it heavier on this and thus lighter for you to move your body throughout space. Today is the first day that I'm going to decide to use straps on this exercise because by increasing by 20 pounds, it's going to make it much more difficult. This exercise much more difficult, and therefore I think that straps would be a good idea to make sure that my grip isn't getting in the way of me fatiguing my back to the utmost extent. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the first set. I did a couple warm-up sets already, so I should be good to go. Last week I hit around 10 or so reps per set, so we're gonna aim for that. Okay, I got about 9 good ones, and then the last 2 weren't full range of motion reps, so I'm not going to fully count them. I like to finish off my sets with those kind of partial reps with fairly strict form. I think that's a good way to just get every last juice that you can out of the tank, every last little bit of gas you can out of the tank, to make sure that you're getting the right amount of intensity that you need to out of your sets to grow. I'll probably rest it around 2 to 3 minutes here. I think that is a good amount of rest for a compound lift of this caliber. This isn't an exercise which demands 5 or so minutes or whatever, especially the assisted pull-up variation. And by the way, I really like this variation because it has a lot more of a stability component. You're more locked in, and therefore you can really focus on just working the muscles that you want to be working. Versus a more conventional like free weight pull-up, there's definitely a bit more swinging involved. I'm not saying that you guys swing inherently, but there definitely is that potential to be swinging more without that like leg support like the assisted pull-up machine has. Okay, let's get set number 2. I'm gonna make sure that I get at least 9 again, and I'm pretty well recovered, so I should be able to hit that metric. Okay. Those partials at the end were not as good as the first set, but I still got 9 full range of motion reps, so I'm happy with that. I wanted to mention that I am making sure that at the very bottom of the rep, I'm fully stretching out and pausing, even if it's just for a second. And my mindset around this is that when I'm fully stretched out at the bottom, you are getting a deep weighted stretch, which has been seen time and time again to elicit more growth than cutting the range of motion short before you get that stretch. So whenever you guys can, make sure that you're getting that stretch part. If you were to miss any aspect of the repetition range, I'd say that the contracted portion is less important than the stretch portion. So like, I think we're going to do this later, but the incline dumbbell curls, when you're doing it, the most lengthened position is the most stretched one. So it's the one where you're fully back. So if you can, I'd rather have you stop shy of that peak contraction or the shortened position instead of cutting shy that lengthened or stretched position. However, if you can, which I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, I think that you should go for that full range of motion, because why not? All right, let's just get straight into the last set. Of course, I rested in between recordings, but I don't think I have anything more to add to this particular lift. I'm just going to try and hit 9 again. For the lats, let's go. I find that it's extremely difficult to grind out sets of weighted pull-ups like this. Once I'm done, I'm just kind of done. All right, next I'm getting into the main horizontal row movement of this particular day. So we started off with a vertical pull, more for width, and now we're getting onto a horizontal pull, more for thickness, targeting those rhomboids, mid traps, all that good stuff. I'm strapping up again for this. I think that once you get to a certain point, why wouldn't you strap up? You never want your grip to be the limiting factor in how much you can pull with your back. I'm also going up 15 pounds. I've been at 115 for this row for the last 2 weeks. So I figured, let's go up. Let's give it a try. I'm just going to try and hit like around the same repetition mark. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but we're going to try for at least over 10. And then I'm really going to be emphasizing getting that stretch and then getting that contraction, getting that full range of motion with this one. Oh, and I wanted to mention one more thing. I love this machine because it converges in. So it kind of like goes with how you'd naturally be pulling. So when you guys are choosing a machine row of any sort, I'd recommend going for one that kind of conforms to your body instead of having your body conform to the machine. I think that when you can have the equipment work with you, that's just going to be a better time overall. Okay, I call that 13 good reps with one Lathan partial rep. I'll take it. If I can get any of those partials, then that means that I hit true failure. I would also encourage you guys to really take your time and find equipment that works well for your body. I remember when I first started lifting, I just kind of went with what I thought was the best from what others told me. And over time, I gradually realized that maybe those weren't the best things for me. You know, sometimes you got to experiment around and find what really just jives with you the best. And I think that that's like the secret to long term success. Finding what you really like, finding something that you enjoy doing, and then also finding something that just works best for you. You know, you may not find that like a conventional deadlift feels good for your body. You may find that like a Smith machine RDL or like stiff legged deadlift is better. Maybe even a good morning. Maybe you like that more than all the other options. But that's the thing is like there's so many different options for different movement patterns, you know, like those are all hip hinges. So you could do a conventional deadlift, you could do a stiff legged deadlift, you could do an RDL, you could do a good morning, you could do a hip thrust. Those are all hip hinges. They're all going to be working the glutes and the hamstrings to a large degree. Find whichever one you like the best. And you don't even have to choose one. You could choose many and then alternate through them. Get good at one and then move on to the next, get good at that. And then once one has like, it's been long enough of a time before you did it again that you can go back to it and get even better. Okay, same deal. I got 12 and then one long leg partial. I'll take it. There's no dip in quality here. Keeping everything as good as we can. Same deal. We got it again. Same quality. I'll take it. Next, we're getting into the machine straight arm lat pull down to finish off the lats, kind of isolate them, if you will. And on this one, I'm actually not doing any warm-up sets because we just crushed our back pretty good. I mean, we started off with a vertical pull, which engages the lats to a great degree. And then the horizontal row also engages the lats too. So my back is pretty warmed up. I mean, it's good to go. Additionally, I increased the weight by, 20 pounds? So we're going up a decent amount on this. I'm going to aim for at least 10 repetitions. Because, I don't know, this one I feel like I've been slacking on. Okay, I'm going to count that one as 12, even though the last couple of reps weren't the exact full range of motion. I was still getting that stretch and getting near that peak contraction. So I'm going to count that as 12 repetitions. And with this one, I'm really just trying to like glue my back to the pad and kind of put pressure in it to increase a sense of stability while I focus on bringing my arms down using my lats. So you really want to try to feel this muscle and cue it down. That's how you're going to get the most out of this particular lift. Now with this one, I don't think I'm going to be resting for very long. I think this is one of those ones where it's not a true compound lift like the other two exercises that we started this particular day with. So it doesn't require as much rest. I think that's like a good rule of thumb is any isolation movements. And what I mean by that is just like single joint movements, ones that are only using one joint, like this one is using your shoulder joint for the movement. So since it's only using one joint instead of like a bench press would use your shoulder and your elbow joint, it's not utilizing as many muscle groups, and therefore you don't need as long of recovery in between sets. It's also not as systemically, and by systemically I mean like whole body fatiguing as something like a compound lift where you're using multiple joints. So I think like right there, that's probably enough rest time. That was, I'm assuming about a minute. I can't find the dang handles. Frick. Another successful set. I'll take it. Something that I wasn't that I've been preaching a lot, but I didn't really like. I wasn't the best example of on that last set that I just did was controlling the eccentric or the lowering phase of the movement. It's really important that you guys control that lowering phase so that you enact the most muscle damage possible for growth. And right there, I think it could have been better. And especially on a movement like this, controlling the weight, really owning the weights is a lot easier than on compound movements like I just spoke of. It's much easier because it's not as fatiguing. On compound lifts, like, your bench press, like I'll just use that same example. On a bench press, it's just gonna be more fatiguing because you're using more joints, you're using more muscles, but you're also lifting more weight a lot of the times too, because by using more muscles, you can inherently lift more weights. So it's something like this where you're really just like engaging the lats. I mean, of course, you can't isolate muscle groups entirely. There's always going to be a little bit more activation going on. For all intents and purposes, we're just using our lats pretty much. It allows you to just be able to control a lot more because it's not like I'm lifting like 300 pounds here, That's how I view it. I think that on exercises like this, why wouldn't you try and control the weight more? So that's kind of where I want to be is. I can tell you right there immediately that is going to cause a lot more soreness and growth than the other two sets. And that's because I was controlling that eccentric part way more than the other ones. What's scheduled next on the program is the cable rear delt rows on the seated bench with the cable machines. You know what I'm talking and it's 5 sets. But both of those machines or cable contraptions are being used right now. And so what would have been next up was the machine for adult fly, but that is also being used. And honestly, last time I did the cable instead, and I think that just doing the cable is just better for this particular program. I think that, well, I know that the only reason why I included the machine variation was just for novelty's sake. It was just to break up the monotony and kind of like give our muscles a little bit more of a stimulus, changing things up from time to time, at least, and especially when it's programmed in, is a great thing as long as you're not changing it up too often. But having like a variation like the cable and then doing the machine, it's the same movement pattern, just one. It's just that the strength curve and the tension amounts and how it feels is slightly different. So it's not only bringing up the monotony and giving a sense of novelty, but it's also a little bit of a different stimulus on our musculature. But for just a 4-week program, I don't think it's a big deal that we just stick to one movement. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 4 sets here, and then we'll do some biceps, and then we'll see if we can get that rear delta row, or I may have to do it off camera. We'll see. We'll see. I'm keeping to the same weight that I did on day 2. Okay. Last time I think I got 12 for all 4. Just then I got 15. I believe it was 15. And I still feel like I could have gone a few more reps. And therefore, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up to 12.5. Okay? 12.5 instead of 10.5. I know that when you guys hear that, you're probably like, oh, he's freaking weak. He's a weakling. You can't lift anything. Well, I'd like you guys to try this with strict form. I mean, the number and how it feels is vastly different for this exercise. I mean, this is a fly, so we're not going to be doing a ton of weight. It's not going to be like maximum loads lifted. You know what I mean? So it's deceptively hard. I want to go up to like the 20s, 30s, 40s, but my form would be ass. I mean, I'd be using my triceps. I'd be really using a lot of momentum. It would be terrible. And that's just not what we want, especially for an exercise like this, It's not what we want. It may come in handy with like the end set of a barbell row, but not with these. Oh, that's immediately harder. Perfect. I think it's a good amount though. Okay, that was immediately harder. I got 12 there, and that felt great. Catch me 2 weeks ago. At like week 1, I think I tried this weight, and I couldn't do it. I got like 8, and then my form was all wobbly and stuff. It's the best. It's the absolute best when you see yourself and you feel it and you know it, that you're making progress. You're literally going up on your weights and stuff. I mean, it's the best. It means that all of the hard work that you've been putting in each and every day, the blood, sweat, well, not blood, sweat and tears, the sweat that you're putting in each and every day, it's paying off. There's nothing better than that. Okay, I'm just going to get right into it. This may be a mistake. Let's see. Rear delts do not need as long to recover as even your lats. I think that's another good rule is the smaller the muscle group is, the less of a duration it needs to be fully recovered before we're doing the next set. Like something like your rear delts or your side delts or your front delts, they don't need nearly as long to recover as like your chest or your lats or something like that. You know, it's just a bigger muscle group. It's getting more damage as it takes longer to recover. You know, it just makes sense. All right, so we're going to finish off this last set. And then I think we're going to get into the dumbbell bicep curls because that is really easily accessible because I already got the bench right here. So I got dumbbells right here. We're good. I'm going to do those and then I'll probably do, I know last time I ended up doing the machine preacher curl. That was a mistake. I forgot that the time before that, I did it, the dumbbell variation on, like a unilateral dumbbell variation on the incline bench. And I actually prefer that a lot more, to be honest. So we're going to do that again this time. I like adding in some, like at least one unilateral variation per muscle group. At least I say that. I don't normally even program that in, but over the course of this program, I've slowly been like changing things up a little bit, depending on what I like more and based off of my needs. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Whether you're following my program or somebody else's, play around with it. You can always alter things as long as it fits. Okay. Okay, like I said, we're going to do some incline dumbbell bicep curls, and I love this one. I've said it before, I'll say it again, for the reason of that you get a deep stretch when you're down like this. Anything where your arm is behind your body, your humerus is behind your body, you're going to be getting a deep stretch in the bicep. And today I'm actually setting the bench more at like a 30 degree instead of a 45, because the further back you are, gravity is just going to have your arm further back and you're going to get an even better stretch. I saw online, I think it was Renaissance Periodization or whatever, Dr. Mike, he was saying that his favorite new bicep exercise is one where the bench is totally flat, but then this part is like elevated a little bit for your head so that you're getting like the deepest stretch possible. I tried that. I'm too tall. My arms, my hands totally hit the bottom, like the floor, before I can fully elongate and stretch my bicep. So it doesn't work for me. I think that if I were to do that, then I'd have to stack up some plates and elevate the bench somehow, but that's way too much work. So I'm doing it this way. So anybody that's like probably 5'11" or above, you probably can't do that particular lift, which is a huge bummer because it looks great, but this is the next best thing, you know? That was just a modified version of this after all. Yeah, I got 12 there. I think that is two more than I got last time, so I'll take it. And biceps is one of those things where it's so difficult to get stronger at. Any increment of progressive overload that I can get, I will take. And do some wrist curls till failure. It's always harder going this way than this way. Nothing like a bicep burn. Oh, I fell at 11 there, unfortunately. I kind of lost it. Oh well, just gotta do better next time. Okay, to finish off the biceps, we're going to be doing the unilateral preacher curl, where your arm is locked into place here to reinforce stability. And I'm trying not to use my shoulder when I'm doing the movement or sway too much. So we're just trying to focus on one bicep at a time. And the reason why I like to include this variation with the incline dumbbell variation is because the incline dumbbell, as I mentioned earlier, provides a great stretch when the humerus is behind the body. Versus this is a great combination because A, your humerus is in front of your body, and then B, you're focusing on the shortened portion of the lift, which is going to provide the peak contraction. So you get the lengthen through the incline variation, and then you get the shortened through this preacher curl variation. So you're getting kind of like the best of both worlds. Now, on top of that, one is a bilateral variation and one is a unilateral. So you get to focus on doing both at a time and then one at a time. Okay? It's an effective combo, but it is pretty taxing. I mean, these are not easy bicep lifts. They're definitely easier ones. Okay, we're gonna call it a 10. I think 10 is a good number for this, especially since we're doing 3 sets, which is a lot. And like always with my bicep exercises, I'm gonna superset it with forearm. So I'm gonna grab. Let's grab the 40 pounds, and I'm gonna do this standing where I'm literally just curling inward like this. You guys have access to a barbell. You can do it behind your back, in front of you. You don't have to get too scientific with it. The blessing of unilateral lifts, but also the curse, is that while you're doing one set on one side, the other side is inherently resting because you're not using it. That's the blessing. But the curse is that you have to do double the amount of sets because you got to do a set for each side of your body. So it's a blessing and a curse. There's also other blessings like how it can help with muscle imbalances and help with atrophy that you may be experiencing from either underdeveloped body parts or maybe you have an injury or something like that. Right there, I could feel my legs going down almost like I was squatting, like doing a partial squat. I think that was my body's way of trying to help me lift the weight by kind of like shrinking down and bringing the arm up. Whenever you feel your body trying to pull like a little cheap move on you like that, tell it no, really try and stand your ground and keep that proper form the best you can. Now, I noticed that in myself. So with this final set of biceps, I'm going to make sure that is not happening whatsoever. Another thing is that on my right arm, it felt a lot stronger than my left. I may have a little bit of imbalance going on, but it could just be because I've been leading with my right, so it's a little bit fresher after that rest break than my left is. But either way, I mean, I don't think that the difference in strength, if there is a problem, I don't think that it's that bad though. I don't think it's enough to worry about. And then the next program, I'm going to, get more creative with my forearm exercises. These are pretty bare bones. These are ones that are just designed to be able to be easily integrated with your bicep lifts. just because they're bare bones doesn't mean they're bad. They're obviously like tried and true forearm exercises that people have been using for decades. I mean, this is like as basic and as classic as it gets. And oftentimes the classic exercises are the best ones. They're timeless. But, I've been doing these for a very long time, more than just this program's duration. I've been doing these just like dumbbell, well, also barbell, a little wrist curls for the better half of a year at least. So I think that it may be time to integrate something different. I mean, you don't just want to be doing the same exact lift for now until the end of time. That's how you hear the stories of people training for like their whole lives and never seeing any notable progress. You know what I mean? All right, on this set, I'm going to start with my left and see if it's just as difficult. Honestly, that felt a little bit better, so I'm thinking that my hunch was correct. This will prove it if this side is harder than last time. Shit, I mean, that was way easier than the left side. Fuck. Maybe my hunch wasn't correct. However, I'm still not concerned because I am right-handed. So, there's always probably going to be a little bit of a strength difference between whichever side is your dominant side. But you're just used to using that side more often. Okay, guys, that's going to conclude week 3, day 5. I know that there's that one extra lift that I didn't get to. The seated cable rear delt row. I'm going to do it off camera because that one is a pain in the butt to record. The angle is never right. There's always people around, but I still want to do it. So I'm just going to do it off camera, and I'll spare you guys the 5 sets of me just, cranking through that one. I'm definitely going to take that into consideration right in the next program. I want to be able to film literally everything with ease. However, that does not mean that I'm going to be shortchanging my principles for like what I think it makes a good program. Program comes first, entertainment, and these records, this lifting journey that I'm posting comes second. Okay. See you guys tomorrow for the conclusion of week 3. Then we'll be on week 4.